Hi guys, it's Reagan and welcome back to another video. Today's bookish recommendation video I'm so excited about because I'm going to be chatting about one of my all-time favorite genres, which is sci-fi. Obviously, I taught a lot about the other side of this well-loved coin, which is fantasy, but science fiction is another love of mine and also a genre I'm personally trying to read in larger volume now and for the years to come. That being said, I have collected a stack of books that I would consider some of my all-time favorite sci-fi reads, but before we dive into the books themselves, first a word from this video's sponsor, which is Glasses USA. I'm so excited to be partnering up with Glasses USA for this video. I have been a long time Glasses USA ambassador. Quite literally every single pair of prescription eyeglasses and sunglasses you ever see me wear are all from Glasses USA. If you're not familiar, Glasses USA is an online glasses retailer and they have thousands upon thousands of different frames across eyeglasses and sunglasses in so many different styles. You'll be able to find one that suits your needs. Because they're online, they've been able to cut out the middleman, resulting in incredible deals and prices, and they're also constantly running some type of promotion or sale online as well. Not to mention, Glasses USA is incredibly convenient. Not only is everything sent directly to your door, but they also have super handy tools like the online try-on tool, which allows you to scan your face and try on the glasses for yourself to see what they look like on your face. I myself have picked up 2 new frames, one of which I'm wearing now, but before we dive into the frames themselves, I do want to shout that I have a crazy exclusive offer with them. For the next 24 hours, if you click the link below, you'll be able to layer my exclusive offer on top of any deal or sale they're also running on site. So it's like double discount. You know what I mean? Alongside that, I will of course have both frames I'm going to show off today linked down below too. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the frames that I've recently bought. First is the Muse McNeil frame. I've already showed these off briefly in a recent vlog, but I had to replace one of my all-time favorite glasses that I unfortunately lost in Korea, and these absolutely fit the bill. I love their tortoise shade, which they have on their site, but this particular shape and the lightweight nature of these glasses just make them a perfect everyday frame. I love how distinguished they are, and I just feel like they go easily with everything in my wardrobe. And then the other pair of glasses I got, I thought were a little fun, a little out there. In particular, I'm also getting married in Italy in August, and I thought these would be perfect. These are the Amelia E. Rosabella sunglasses. I wanted something large. I wanted something oval. I wanted something that was a little dramatic, and I feel like these are amazing. I feel like it's so difficult to find more trendy leaning sunglasses in a prescription, and these are not only so cute but also an incredible price. That honestly goes for all of their prescription sunglasses on their site too, and you can also get them without a prescription if you're interested. They of course have a special offer with Glasses USA, which I will link down below, as well as all of the frames I showed off today. Again, big shout out to Glasses USA for sponsoring this video. I love working with them. I love wearing their glasses on a literal daily basis. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive back into the books. So the first sci-fi read I have to show off is honestly just one of my all-time favorite stories. A wonderful mix of cozy, heartwarming, and found family. The book I'm talking about is Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki. This story actually made one of my favorite books of last year, and it's still one I try to recommend at every chance I get. This story setup is a rather peculiar one, but it works so well, and it's truly rooted within its characters. This story follows the point of view of a variety of characters. The first is Shizuka, and she has quite literally made a deal with the devil. And this deal is to bring 7 souls of violin prodigies to her demon contact, and she's already delivered 6, so she's on the hunt for her last one, which results in her crossing paths with our other main character, Trina, a young trans runaway who has a lot of raw talent with the violin. We also run into Lan, who is an alien from another world who has come to Earth and opened a donut shop with her family. All of these characters come crashing into each other's lives. As I mentioned, this book is deeply emotional, definitely rooted in found family, but the sci-fi components are not only quirky, but make this story even more interesting. I'm talking aliens and spaceships, sprinkle in a little bit of deals with the devil, and a lot of music. This story is beautiful and emotional, and the characters and just the complex nature of the story absolutely blew me away. The next book I have to recommend is Rosewater by Tad Thompson. This is the first book to a sci-fi trilogy, and one that will truly keep you guessing from beginning to end. I've only read the first book in this trilogy, and I have the sequel on my to-be-read pile to get to very, very soon, but I can wholeheartedly say I had no idea where this book was going, and 2, it is definitely one of the most unique stories I have simply ever read. So this, I would say, is a first contact style sci-fi story, essentially a alien thing has come to Earth and has also completely upended human society as we know it. This thing is like this egg-shaped alien membrane, and it's landed down in Africa. And since its arrival, a community has surrounded it, not only to try to understand its mysteries, but also this egg-like thing has also resulted in some very peculiar happenings. First off, miraculous healing can occur if you're near and around this egg. And two, some people have been given types of telekinetic powers ever since its arrival. In this story, we follow our main character who works kind of as a spy for the government, but also has a criminal past. And the story itself, the timeline is rather jumbled. We're jumping forward and back in time, but you quickly get a sense that there is a larger conspiracy at play, not only within the government, but there also appears to be something going on with this egg, as other individuals like himself who have this telekinetic power are going missing. This book is riveting. I mean, honestly, just the concepts and the ideas that the author packs into this will keep you on the edge of your seat. Combining that with an absolutely political thriller leaning plot, it's so hard to put down. I love the mixture of these like larger sci-fi contemplations on society and the world and life and humanity mixed with such a thrilling package. It was an absolute home run for me, and I have no idea where the trilogy is going to take us next. I'm personally very excited to find out myself, but if you haven't checked out the Sci-Fi series, I highly recommend you do so. Speaking of a very thrilling space opera story, I also have to recommend the Expanse series by James S.A. Corey. I'm currently 5 books in myself within this series. I have not completed it, but I will say every book just gets better and better, and if you want something that is incredibly plot forward with a huge cast of characters, but will just inevitably pull you in and make you flip the pages, the Expanse series is the series for you. James S.A. Corey's ability to continue to up the ante and keep this plot fresh just never ceases to amaze me. It's fantastic. But the setup and premise of this series is that humanity has spread beyond the reaches of Earth. There are now governments and civilizations on the moon, on Mars, and also within a series of space stations called the Belt. All of these groups of people kind of hate each other through time. There's a lot of tension politically and individually between all of these different places. It's kind of a hotbed for disaster. And at the beginning of book one of our main characters, James Holden, who is a ship captain, stumbles upon a piece of alien technology which basically acts as the spark to create utter chaos in this world. Every book has a new issue and also introduces us to a new cast of characters and, generally speaking, a new location. There are new problems to overcome, but there's also a consistent growth of the large overarching issue, which is constantly evolving. It's just so dynamic and fascinating. It has action, it has diplomacy, it has politics, it has people kind of working at these problems from so many different angles and job positions. It just keeps it absolutely riveting. I love this series. Each book gets better and better. The characters also grow on you too, but really I would say if you want something that is super plot forward, the Expanse series is definitely the one to check out. Next book I have to recommend is Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. I loved this book. This is such an interesting combination of literary fiction and sci-fi. All of Emily St. John Mandel's most recent works kind of exist within the same universe of each other, though I would say you can read them all separately and in any order you want, but I do want to call that out. This particular book has opening pages in 1912, but we jump through a variety of characters and perspectives through time, and we end up on a moon colony 500 years later. Emily St. John Mandel is known not only for her fantastic character work, but also her ability to create all of these disparate tales and vignettes and slowly weave not only them together but create this larger tapestry of human experience. This book, which I particularly love, does include sci-fi elements, not only in the time element but also in the technology, just the author's perspective of how the earth can evolve and change through time and how society impacted by technology would also evolve, but also keeping that thread of human connection throughout every single generation and perspective. It was just so good. I will also say that while this book is beautifully written and very literary leaning, it is compulsive to read. Again, you open the story following a young preacher in 1912 traveling to the distant shores of a remote location in Canada, and he sees something there that completely changes his life. And you see the echoes of this through time and space, and it's just truly fascinating to see how the story plays out. I read this book, I want to say, in one single sitting. It was mesmerizing. I just couldn't put it down. And I feel like Emily St. John Mandel's ideas of the future are really, really interesting, as illustrated not just in this book, but some of her other books, predominantly Station 11. And I just loved this. I also loved the combination of two genres that I personally really enjoy, and this was a knockout. Next up is probably one of my current favorite duologies of all time, definitely some of the best sci-fi I have ever read. Again, just its creation of culture, the discussion, the characters, and the progression of the plot through the two books that are present in this series are just impeccable. And the series I'm talking about is A Memory Called Empire by Arcady Martin, and the sequel is A Desolation Called Peace, which I just recently read. I gave both of these books 5 out of 5 stars. I cannot emphasize enough how fascinating these books are, but also how the author will have you hanging on every single word she writes, because it just feels like everything is significant, because it is. But in this story, we follow our main character, Mihit, and she is from a small space station. And at the beginning of book 1, she's basically been promoted to become an ambassador to travel to this faraway, very powerful planet, which has very strong colonial interests. Her job as an ambassador is to protect the interests of her homeland and basically prevent their ever desire to expand. When she arrives, though, she's supposed to meet with her predecessor, but she realizes that he has since passed away, and she doesn't know if it is murder or not. Book 1 is a political thriller in space. We watch Mihit as she tries to survive and navigate an incredibly complex political reality. The entire story takes place over a very short period of time. There's larger political conspiracies at play. Every conversation has double meaning, and Mihit is just trying to get her grounding, not knowing who to trust. We, as the reader, are trying to understand the world we've just been plopped down in, but also rooting for our main character as she is trying to navigate such confusing scenarios. This particular series really toys with the idea of language and culture and feeling like an outsider despite loving something so much. Identity and inclusion are just huge topics within this series. The entire book progresses to new heights within the sequel, which somehow is even better than the first one. Just all the different motivations and the backdoor dealing that occurs throughout this series. Every word feels significant, and I was fascinated by the world the author was not only able to create, but the topics that she was able to discuss and include within this fantastic sci-fi setting. Just everything felt so real. I loved the characters, writing style. It was all exceptional. For sure, 2 of the best books I simply have ever read. Next up, I have to talk about A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers, and also the sequel, which I have also read. If you're looking for a very short but cozy sci-fi time, this is a great series to check out. It will absolutely envelop you in the hug that you're looking for, put a smile on your face, and also give you a little bit of hope in regards to the future. But if you're not familiar, A Psalm for the Wild Built follows our 2 main characters, Dex and Moscap. Dex, our main character, is a tea monk, and at the beginning of book 1, they're feeling a little unsettled in their life. While they're happy, I wouldn't say they are content. They are not quite sure what they want to do with their life, where they want to go, and they suddenly have this strong inkling to go out into the wilderness and explore to see what's out there. This book is set in a futuristic society where society is sort of completely changed from what we know it. Essentially, there was this agreement between human and robots that they would no longer be used in any type of capitalistic way, and they have since parted ways. The robots live in the wilderness, and humanity has completely transformed how their cities work. Everything now is community oriented, more about producing what you need, not for excessive gain. You kind of get the idea. It's super, super wholesome, and I would like to live there. But Dex goes into the wilderness and stumbles across our other main character, Moscap, who is a robot very, very interested in meeting up with humanity once again, even though no one has kind of communicated with each other for many generations. Moscap and Dex strike up a very surprising friendship. They lean on each other, they support each other, they have such beautiful conversations with one another, all rooted in sharing and curiosity and just like trying to see the best in the other, and it's just truly delightful. Book 1 is definitely more of a solo journey of the 2 characters progressing into the wilderness, but book 2 is a lot more about community integration and seeing Moscap at their best as they begin to find out and ask all the questions they have ever desired. It's funny, it's heartwarming, it's delightful, and I just feel like Becky Chambers packs a lot into a very small package. I could read a million chapters of this story and I would be content for the rest of my life. And the last book I'm going to show off is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This is a sci-fi fantasy tale. I personally think it leans a little bit more sci-fi, but I do think it's a really interesting mix of both genres. This is necromancers in space, and in it we follow our main character Gideon. Gideon has lived on a planet called Ninth House her entire life, and she's also been trying to escape Ninth House her entire life, but she's always been thwarted by her arch nemesis, who is Harrowhawk. Every scheme that Gideon concocts to try to escape, Harrowhawk is always one step ahead of her, stopping her. At the beginning of this book, though, these two individuals strike up an agreement for Gideon's future because Harrowhawk is given the opportunity to travel to this faraway planet with all of the other necromancer houses in attendance to basically compete for a possibility of having a very powerful position moving forward, which Ninth House desperately needs. So these two characters travel to this very strange, faraway place and begin to compete against other people and other necromancers who haul off their own style. This book is such an interesting mix of things. First off, Gideon is hilarious. The enemies situation that exists between Gideon and Harrowhawk, also hilarious. I love the dialogue of this book. I read this book actually twice, and the second time I did via audio, and I adored it. I highly recommend actually listening to it via audio. On top of just great characters and really hilarious dynamics, the plot is super unique. It starts out as this seemingly like political diplomacy leading thriller book, possibly, to what almost feels like a whodunit closed door murder mystery. All contestants in this fight for power are sort of trapped in this house of horrors in space. It's such a strange collection of plot points that works so well and makes the whole thing unbelievably thrilling, unpacking how the magic works, seeing unlikely alliances form, and obviously seeing the evolution between Gideon and Harrowhawk is just a delight to read. This series is loud and funny, but also so unbelievably creative, and I need to get to book 2 as I've now read book 1 literally twice. But I can say wholeheartedly book 1 is an absolute delight and will also thrill you to no end. Alrighty guys, those are some of my all-time favorite sci-fi books. Again, a big shout out to this video's sponsor, which is Glasses USA. Again, I'll have that 24-hour exclusive offer linked down below, as well as both frames I showed off today. But thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you soon with another one soon. Goodbye!